Ooh, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 105 of the Stand Up Guys podcast. I'm your host, incomparable Zach Jones, joined as always by my brother from the same mother, Lester Jones.
Hello, everybody.
That was a delayed response.
I was trying to think of something to say. Do you remember, in Twins with Schwarzenegger and DeVito, where he's like, "I'm the shit," or like Arnold got all the good genes and he got like all the garbage or whatever.
Oh, okay. It's been like so long since I've seen that movie.
It's a good reference.
Is it though? And of
Wasn't
course,
there talks of making a second one of those?
well, at one point we're supposedly going to make a sequel where it was a triplets or something, and somehow Eddie Murphy was also their brother. But I haven't heard any news on.
He got all the black genes.
Yeah. And of course, it wouldn't be our show if we didn't have the ninth wonder, Chocolate Thunder, looking for a few good PPs for a few good DPs. The tag teaming, double creaming. You take the front, he'll take the back. You'll be dancing all night, sack to sack. The phenomenal AJ Singh.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here.
That's what you said at the DP.
Now, we just actually got out of the theater. We watched Jordan Peele's Nope, and we'll be given a good lengthy breakdown of that movie. But before we get there, I was wondering, did you guys hear this like whole Batgirl story that's gone on this week?
Yeah.
This story fascinates me a little bit. Did you hear about this as well?
Yeah.
So, not too long ago, like Discovery merged with Warner Brothers. And so they got like a whole new head in charge. And they had this Batgirl movie mostly in the can, from what I understand. I think it started the post-production process. It would still take some money to finish it up. But they announced that they just straight up are canceling it. Like they're not going to put it on HBO Max. They're not going to put it in theaters. They shot it, but no one's going to see it, you know?
Yeah.
And so the story coming out is that supposedly internally of the people have seen it and test screenings, like it apparently did very poorly.
Right.
So the financial thought behind it apparently is that they think if they put it in theaters and add like the cost of a theatrical run, that they won't make their money back on it. But also, I guess like the added expense that it would take to get it ready to be able to put on HBO Max, like they don't think it's good enough that it would draw in enough subscribers to make it financially beneficial that way. So they're just like, we'll eat the expense and get whatever percentage we can get back as a tax break of
Right.
of
They
that.
figure they'll make more just trying to write it off.
Now, this to me is a hard decision to judge without actually seeing the movie. But my thought is,
If it's on par with the rest of the DC movies, it's utter trash.
well, the thing is, it might be worth the gamble because even like I don't doubt that the movie's probably in rough shape and probably not very good. But we've seen so many shitty comic book movies go to theaters and still do well financially. And I'm like, if they put out a half decent trailer, like it would not surprise me if they put this out and made at least their money back. You know, so
I mean, it's still got some interesting things. You've got Michael Keaton's in there, as
right,
Batman,
and that's
and Brendan Fraser's pretty hot right now.
yeah, I feel like there's enough, like just being like people's first like ability to see Michael Keaton as Batman again, I think would be a big enough draw to very well make their money back on the film.
Yeah, I think you definitely have a shot.
So to me, to just bury it, even if it is bad, seems weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It does seem a little weird, but apparently they cut a lot of stuff. Which I mean, I can understand them saying, "Hey, we got to make some changes."
I can too. The thing I cannot understand though is they've actually taken a few of the movies that were already finished and on their platform off. Like that American Pickle movie with Seth Rogen. Like they took it off for some reason. That remake of The Witches, they took it off.
Oh,
And
I watched that. The American Pickle wasn't he like you went back in time or something, or he was he was pickled.
Yeah, he fell in like a pickle jar or
Got
something.
opened, like,
And, yeah, I didn't watch it. I don't even think it was reviewed super well, but it still seems weird to me that they would take it off.
Anything to
It
leave
doesn't.
there.
They got infinite space to put shit up. So like that's a decision that puzzles me a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about like where they're headed. I think they're trying to get rid of scripted TV shows. They're trying to do more like of their, I guess, Discovery type shows.
Well, I think the plan, and that sucks, but like, yeah, they had this whole thing. I don't think it was like supposed to be released. It was like an internal thing, but somebody got a screenshot of it and put it on Twitter or whatever, where like it shows like they view the HBO portion of the app as like, male oriented, quote unquote, lean in programming, like scripted stuff. And then the Discovery stuff is more female centric, lean back, like reality type programming, which I mean, I guess maybe they have some demographics that suggest that, but it does seem like a weird thing in this day and age to.
I never really thought of Discovery as being like women's oriented.
Well, it's because these days it's just.
Is it going to be the Kardashians?
It's just yeah, exactly. It's reality TV garbage. Just like
now, I understand where they're headed.
Just like TLC, the quote unquote learning channel, it just devolved into just bullshit reality.
Oh, yeah.
It saddens me because I really like a lot of the HBO stuff. Like, I don't even want the Discovery stuff on that same app clouding up things because it's just, to me, it's just like bullshit that I don't even want. Like, just reality-based garbage,
Yeah, I'm surprised Discovery has so much money. Like, they bought HBO Max.
I guess, yeah. That surprised the hell out of me, too, when I heard that because I'm like, Discovery, like... I hadn't heard of, like, I thought they were just like a dying cable channel. I didn't know that they had money and were like capable of doing that,
Yeah, that's a surprise.
But yeah, when they announced that merger, I was like, well, DC needs help. Maybe this will, and who knows? Maybe in a couple of years we'll see that they are making good moves and it's paying off.
Part of me is like actually a little happy that they don't release this movie because it means that there's actually some quality control at DC.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could be good. I mean, the content's always going to have a huge amount of value, but maybe they can start doing something decent.
I mean, my kind of thought is they need a reboot, whether that's a hard reboot or a soft reboot anyway. So, like, to me, I would be like, well, let's release the things we got in the can, make as much money off of it as we can, and then start over. Maybe they're right. Maybe this movie was in a state where they could not make, any money off of it. But then at the same time, it kind of is a fuck you to fans when they know that movie's out there. And I also feel sorry for like the lead actress and like the people who put all their work into this movie and then it's just gone, It sucks for them. And now we're just going to get, the hashtag that release the Snyder Cut is over. Now it's going to be hashtag release Batgirl from now until infinity,
Maybe somebody will leak it. They can get their tax cut and a leak.
I mean, they might leak something, but it's still unfinished to an extent.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It just seems like a weird move to me. And like I said, like, I don't know. Even if it's bad, I bet there's a fair chance they could have got their money back.
Yeah, I think they could have gotten their money back. I think a superhero movie, it's really hard to fail with one of those.
Yeah, I mean...
Except Morbius.
I was going to say, Morbius, like... even Morbius, I think, might have made its money back. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't watch those Venom movies. Apparently, they're pretty bad, and they made money.
Mm-hmm. Venom's a big character, but he's never been done very well, I don't think.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't criticize those movies too roundly without actually seeing them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone to see Batgirl anyway, but...
I wouldn't have gone to the theater to see Batgirl, no.
Well, and it wasn't even, they weren't even, the old regime at WB, like, planned that one to be just an HBO Max exclusive thing.
I probably still would.
Well, we would have made you to review it for the podcast, but, and it might have been good. Like, I like the character of Barbara Gordon, actually. She's one of the better female superheroes, I think, but yeah, apparently the movie was not in a good state. Well, should we get on with reviewing Nope?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, I got one story.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
We're going to squeeze in one story here because this one needs to be heard.
You got a doozy for us?
It's a good one. Okay, so there's a burglar, right? He breaks in this chick's house, and like, so she comes home and she's like, I've been burgled or whatever, and she finds out like some of her dildos and shit are missing. And so not only that, there was a jar in there with 50 grams of dried semen from like 250 dudes because she's been fucking everybody on Tinder
Oh my god.
and saving their jizz. So she's like,
Whoa.
who could want this, bottle of jizz? And so,
But no, the question is who collects it?
Yeah.
well,
why is
it's
she
bad
one?
that she collects
She's
it.
like, this weirdo.
This other guy steals it, but here's the kicker. He thought it was drugs.
Oh.
He chopped it up and he fucking snorted it. So
He's like, it was the best high of my life.
from this, he got 2 different types of herpes
Oh.
and a raging case of syphilis.
Oh god.
It shows pictures. He's got like blisters on his nose and his mouth and shit.
So it's definitely not a fake news story.
So she's got
I
herpes.
tried
and
to
syphilis.
like, I'll type like fact checker and type the story, and like I couldn't get any false like things on there, and it's running a bunch of like different news outlets. I mean, this guy, he looks like he would snort sperm.
Oh man. I mean, how hopeful do you have to be as a drug addict to think that drugs would be in a jar of?
You're like, oh,
sperm-looking
anonymous
liquid?
white powder and sex toys. I know what this is about.
Was it a powder? It was in powder form.
It was all dried out.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like her collection of dried out sperm.
Oh.
Now, I got questions about this woman because, like, is she having like the guy she with like specifically come in the jar, or is she just
Yeah,
like
no,
scraping
she's
it off her
like-
face, or what?
I think she's just getting them to go in this jar.
How would you feel if you hooked up with a woman and she's like, "Oh, hold on a second, can you come in this like jar that's half filled?"
Yeah. Hello, person I just met on Tinder.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I save everybody's jizz. And you'd be like, that looks like that must have been a lot of guys. Oh, well.
Creating your own Jurassic Park, huh?
Can you imagine the smell of opening that up?
That's the other thing. Like, I mean, did this guy think it was cocaine or something? Like, he wasn't
Yeah, I thought it was like cocaine.
like. I mean, he didn't get a whiff of that and be like,
You got
I mean,
Buttermilk.
doesn't smell like any cocaine I've ever had. Of course, I've never had cocaine. Maybe cocaine does have a spermy smell. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it'd be a popular drug, though, if it did.
Yeah.
Okay, and now
Okay.
are we rolling?
Let's go with Nope, now that we've gone through that.
Okay, guys, so we're going to review Nope. In case anyone hasn't watched any or listened to any of our reviews, we're going to do a kind of a surface level, non-spoilery type review, and then we'll kind of get into a more detailed plot breakdown and spoiler-filled review. Basic synopsis. Two siblings who run a California horse ranch discover something wonderful and sinister in the skies above, and the owner of the adjacent theme park tries to profit from the mysterious, otherworldly phenomenon. The movie, of course, directed by Jordan Peele. It stars Daniel Kaluuya as O.J. Haywood, Kiki Palmer as Emerald Haywood, Stephen Yoon as Ricky Jupe Park, Michael Wincott as Antlers Holst, Brandon Pereira as Angel Torres, and Keith David as OJ Sr. Well, I'll let you guys go first with the non-spoilery stuff. I don't know exactly. I think I'm still processing how I feel about this movie. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I mean, I expected more. I thought because I heard other reviews for it, and they didn't get into spoiler territory, but they did kind of lead me to believe that there was more to just the surface level what we saw in the trailer. And I mean, there was a little bit more, but I wasn't fully satisfied with the story. I thought it was okay. I thought it was well played out, acting wise and other stuff, but. Yeah, I thought it was just okay film.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting more depth and like it has kind of like a long, slow start, and you expect it to build more. And I guess I was figuring it might go a couple different ways, but like if it was going to go the horror way, I thought it should have gone harder, maybe. Like it didn't really. I don't know. It was slightly anticlimactic.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at as well. I mean, on a technical level, like it's well shot. Like there's beautiful shots in it and everything. But yeah, story wise, I think it does let you down. And the other thing is like, not that this is a requirement, but like Jordan Peele's like, I mean, this is only his third movie, but he's kind of known for doing these horror movies that are also like social commentaries. And you get
I was
that
expecting that element that wasn't there, kind of. Yeah.
you get it arguably a little bit in the very beginning of the movie, which we'll go over. But like, if like towards the end of the movie, it was still supposed to be there. Like it was lost on me. Like if we were supposed to interpret certain things, like then it was lost on me.
Yeah, like the opening scene, like it goes into that story, which is definitely like horrific. But at the same time, like it doesn't really tie in as well as it could, maybe.
There's other random things where like I feel like Jordan Peele's like this would make for like just like a bizarre visual, but I'm like
Right, they're like cool elements, but they don't quite.
but they just feel like they're he's like
one-offs.
he found a reason to get them there, but they're not very crucial or to the story, or and it's a bit weird. I'll also say Daniel Kaluuya, who I mean, I think I've only seen him in this. What was Jordan Peele's first movie? Get Out. And I've seen him in Black Panther, and I thought he was relatively good in Get Out. Here, I gotta say, I felt his performance was so subdued that it was almost wooden. Where I just thought like sometimes like some really freaky shit would go on, and he would just be like, "Oh, that's something." Like
I felt like he almost had a personality disorder.
I know, like
Which I don't know. I thought it was on purpose.
I mean, they didn't set that up if it was part of his character.
I mean, even with like people, like it seemed like he was struggling with eye contact. Like he had some kind of like, he had something going.
I don't know. I just thought I would have liked it if he could have shown a little more emotion in his performance. I think it was maybe just a little too subdued, a little too wooden. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but like with a movie like this, you kind of you were talking about this, like you expect kind of like maybe a big twist, and like when you find out like.
Yeah, there's a small twist, but you're like, okay.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, okay, that's fine, I guess. But it's not. Yeah, so I think the movie is, in the end, anticlimactic. There's some good stuff in it, but would I recommend you putting down your hard-earned ducats to actually see it in the theater? Nope.
At least you had enough time to think of that on the car ride home.
All right, guys, are you ready to get into it? All right, guys, spoilers ahead. So as the opening title sequence comes up, we hear this background chatter that's sounds like some sitcom or something like, and it's going to touch on this later on, but we open up just for like some, I guess, a shocking opening. This sitcom with this monkey or chimp, I guess. The chimp goes crazy and just like slaughters like a couple of people on this show.
Yeah, you don't really see.
Yeah, when it opens up, you just hear like this commotion, and then you see the chimp with like blood all over his hands.
Bloody. There's someone laying there.
And curious enough, there's like a shoe that's standing straight up.
Yeah, I think that's just a visual.
That's another thing. Like I said, sometimes he's like, Jordan Peele's like, I like this as a visual, and it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if that was, well, I was wondering if it's some kind of like cue to Supernatural at that point, but you don't really know where it's going.
Yeah, and it wouldn't really make sense in the context of the movie for like a supernatural thing to be happening right there.
Right.
So now we come to the farm. That's going to be the center of the movie. Daniel Kaluuya's character is feeding horses, and his father, played by Keith David, is also like training a horse. They have a little bit of a conversation, and then Daniel Kaluuya starts to walk away, and like it starts to rain, and we don't know exactly what it is, but it seems like it's raining like, metallic
or something,
objects, yeah. And like he looks back and he sees that his father like slumps over on the horse and then eventually falls off, and we find out he was hit with one of those pieces. Like he rushes him to the hospital, and we see like the X-ray of the metal piece in his head, and it doesn't like tell us right there that he dies, but then it like basically flash forwards 6 months, and like a little bit later we find out, yeah, he did die.
But yeah, you get hit with like a nickel or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So now, basically, their family, and this was in the trailer. They go over the whole thing about the first like minutes of a motion picture where this black guy riding a horse. He was like their great grandfather. And so now they operate this business where they train horses to be in movies and TV shows. So he's on the set of this commercial. He's like the horse wrangler. And like, you can tell he's like kind of uncomfortable in the position.
Yeah, he's having a lot of trouble interacting with people. He's definitely like more in tune with the horses and stuff.
Now, this is the only part of the movie where I feel like they really kind of get into maybe some social commentary. Where like, it's done a little heavy-handedly. Where like kind of the white people on set are kind of treating him like shitty and like he's weird or something.
He is kind of weird.
He is kind of weird, but they're kind of also like treating him like oh, he's just the horse guy or whatever, you know.
Guy, yeah.
And
they're definitely not respecting him.
Even like the actress like on the set, like this older white lady's like, they tell her his name's like OJ, and she's like, OJ, like OJ Simpson or fucking something like that, yeah. And so it's, I don't know, a bit silly, but they basically tell him to do the safety instruction for being around the horse. He starts doing it, but he's like kind of shy and like, but then like his sister shows up, and his sister's like the exact opposite of him. Like she's very extroverted, and she's very like comfortable with the crowd. She likes the attention, you know. She's very charismatic, and so she like gives the safety speech, but at the same time she's like plugging like her acting and her singing and things like that, right?
To tell the truth, as far as like safety meetings go, they didn't really give them very good instruction.
That's
two
true.
things. The third thing was like, have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like, you know,
like, don't stand behind the horse; it might kick you to death.
I know that's basically what he was trying to tell him, and she didn't even say that. Like, you know, don't get behind the horse; it might kill you. But yeah, basically what happens is the horse then like kicks like at one of the guys or something. I think it like knocks some powder out of the makeup guy's hand or something, and it gets him basically fired from the commercial. And you can. It also seems like him and the sister have kind of like a contentious relationship, maybe.
Yeah,
like they love each other, but it seems like they're a little distant.
Like he wants to live on the farm, she wants to go live some life,
right?
Kind of thing.
So I remember they drive. They're gonna go to the farm. Do they go to the farm right off?
They're headed home, but they take a stop at the at that little carnival.
Yeah, I was wondering if they. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they go to the carnival because he's got a meeting with Stephen Yeun's character.
Right, because essentially they're broke, and he's been like slowly selling his horses off to this guy. And so he's at a point where he has to sell another horse to him that he doesn't really want to.
Yeah. So like Daniel OJ, I guess is his character. So OJ, like, he's gonna have this meeting with Stephen Yeun. He doesn't want his sister to come, but she's like, "Fuck you, I'm coming in anyways." And so, like, as they're talking, like, she's looking at the shit around his office because he used to be a child actor. Apparently, first on like I think like some sort of Western show, and then she sees like there's this Mad Magazine like thing of that Gorgo, that monkey chimp character in the beginning. His name Gordo.
Gordy, I think.
I was thinking Gordo, but
I'm not sure. Yeah, it might be one of those.
Gordy or Gordo. But it had like a parody thing of him with the blood on him, and Stephen Yeun's character could tell like she was interested in that. He's like, "Oh yeah, I was on that show," because he was like a little child actor that was on that show, and he shows her like this secret room that has like memorabilia from that show, and I think it even has that shoe.
Yeah, he owns the shoe with a blood drop on it.
What do you? Because this whole subplot about the chimp show, does it really affect the story in any way?
Well, I like it on its own, but yeah, it doesn't really tie in very well. And like, I mean, I guess if the Asian guy was like a major character, like it could explain if he had like some kind of psychosis or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, and it doesn't. It shows it in more detail later, and it's definitely like a traumatic event in his life.
I mean, as far as that scene goes, it is creepy and it is like, uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was well done. That's a well done scene and very like creepy and filled with tension.
Yeah, it's not a perfect fit, really. And they're trying to say something about like, I don't know, working with wild animals or something. But yeah, I don't know exactly what the point is.
Yeah, that's the thing. If there's a social commentary in this movie, like it's buried a little too deep, I think. Okay, so yeah, they have the meeting with him, and then they go back to the house, and she's like saying like, "What'd he say?" And he's like, "Oh, he wants to buy the ranch." And she's like, "For how much?" And like he's being like coy about it, and he's like, "Why do you want to know?" Because she's like, "Well, I want to know how stupid you are," or something like that. So like you were saying, it seems like she maybe kind of would be in favor of selling the ranch, but like he wants to kind of uphold the family business. It seems like.
Yeah.
Now they go in the house and like they're drinking and listening to music. Now they have this conversation that I kind of maybe blanked out on, where like she says when she was a kid, there was this horse called Jean Jacket, which was supposed to be like her horse, like she was supposed to train it or something. But
well, it was supposed to be gifted to her, but then it got used for something else.
Yeah, like a movie or something.
Yeah, then her dad got a movie contract and took it out, and
so like she felt like screwed or something about that.
Yeah,
I just didn't know exactly. Like, I felt like that was supposed to maybe be a bigger story point.
Well, again,
too.
she said she was like looking out the window and her dad never looked at her, but like he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, it was weird. So then she looks outside and she's like, "Why is Ghost, which is one of the horses, like out in the arena where they train rather than, I guess, the stable or whatever,
Yeah.
And one thing they do throughout the movie is like they almost have chapter titles based on the horse's name, so it'll like actually go to a black title screen where it says Ghost, and then I think there's one called Clover, Lucky, eventually Jean Jacket. There might have been others, I don't remember. But he goes to check on the horse, and like eventually like and his sister like puts the music on like really loud.
Yeah.
And the horse just kind of bolts away. And they're like, what's up with that? So he gets on like his ATV type thing and drives down the road. And I don't remember, can he actually see the horse at that point?
I don't know. I think he followed it down there a ways, and I think he kind of just lost track of it.
Right. So in the distance, he sees like these circular lights. And then like he starts to see like all the lights in the surrounding area like go off, and that goes all the way to the house. Like all the power just briefly goes off, and then very quickly in the sky, he sees a UFO, but it goes like by like super fast, right?
Yeah.
But he goes back to the house, and they have a conversation because like she knows that he saw something,
Right.
And so yeah, he's like, I forget exactly what he said, but he basically tells her that he saw a UFO.
And she's like instantly like, we need to go buy cameras. No doubt whatsoever.
Yeah, well, so they oh, and I guess we should have set this up a little bit. When they went to see Stephen Yeun, he owns like this kind of Wild West theme park called Jupiter's Claim or something like that,
Yeah.
where they just have all these kind of touristy Wild West attractions. And I think like they were eating food like in the parking lot of that place or something when they're having this conversation where she says she looked up online and like if they get video footage of the UFO, they can make huge money, right?
Yeah, like 100K or something.
Right. So that's their plan. So they go to the store, they buy a bunch of cameras and shit. And like they have this thing they bring back where they're like, we're gonna get on Oprah or whatever.
Yeah,
we're gonna
the
get that Oprah shot, right? So they're checking out, and the guy checking them out's like, would you like to have that professionally installed? And they're like, no thanks. And he's like, suit yourself, but you're gonna fail or something. Like he's a terrible like salesman.
Yeah.
Like he should be fired. But they're like, is it a hard install? And he's like, I guess he convinces them that to have him come out and install it. So
But also like they're buying this equipment and like he's instantly like, you're trying to film UFOs, aren't you?
Yeah, that was people made connections in this movie that I wouldn't have made.
He's like, I'm all in right now.
yeah, so yeah, there are things in this movie that like that too. That you're like, okay, that's a little bit of a reach that this guy would just make that connection right away. But yeah, so he comes out, he installs the cameras, and then the sister leaves. She says she's going to go shopping, and so he's stuck there with the guy, and they have this whole conversation where like the guy's like, you know, a couple years ago, the government finally released footage of UFOs, and he's like, now they call them like UAPs because they want to like.
I've never heard of a UAP. Is that a
Yeah,
real?
I never had either, but apparently that's a thing. I don't know. And like the guy's like saying that maybe like they're world killers and they're gonna like, you know, bring us up and shove metal up her ass or something. And even like then like Daniel Kaluuya's character said something nonplussed like, oh, that's great or something, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, then the sister shows back up, and we see there's like a trail of like flags coming out of the horse trailer.
Oh, right.
And we find out she stole like a I don't even know what you call it, like a
mannequin horse.
Yeah, mannequin statue horse from Stephen Yeun's park. And then conveniently, Stephen Yeun's character shows up almost immediately, and she's like, "This is a decoy horse," and he's like, "Oh, we have some like that. Where'd you get it?" And she's like, "Oh, where'd you get yours?" It's, you know, trying to like, you know. Anyway, he's advertising that they're having some show Friday night that they want him. He wants them to come to or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, he leaves. I think the angel guy leaves. So then I believe it's nighttime again.
Is this where they have the scene in the horse stalls?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. So yeah, it's late at night. OJ notices that there's a light on in the stables that shouldn't be there. So he goes in there and he shuts the light off. He walks away. The light shows up again. And then there's these like small alien creatures. And and he gets out his like flip phone, shitty phone, camera, and again he's like, nope. And that's a joke they repeat like in the movie, the whole nope thing.
It was funny. It was a good misdirection.
But yeah, so like it's a misdirection where you're like, oh, is this really like an alien creature movie? But then it ends up just being Stephen Yeun's kids, like scaring them for stealing the mannequin horse. What do you guys think of that scene? Like, I mean, I guess it was well done, but do you think that those kids would actually do that?
No.
I didn't really.
I mean, if you live out in the country, got nothing to do, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. But also they let one of the horses out of its stall or something.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of the horses was out. I don't remember.
So then I might be skipping over something, but I know like the sister is then looking at the newly installed security cameras, and she's scared because of like an insect like covers one of the
praying mantis sticks its head in front.
Yeah, and scares her a little bit. And then now this is where the salesman guy should really get fired, because he calls and he's like, the second camera's off or whatever, because he's basically somehow tapped into the video footage.
Yeah, he's just sitting in Fry's watching their house.
And so I'm trying to remember what happens, because they have another run-in with the UFO. Doesn't it end up like sucking up the mannequin horse?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they set up the mannequin horse out in the field. But wasn't he also, I don't know, was he out there? He seems like he was out there.
Yeah, he was out there, and they eventually have this thing, because I remember she's like, run, and he like turns around and starts running from it, and he ends up taking refuge in like this little shack or something. Man, my memory's blanking on exactly where on this scene. Like, I don't remember exactly how it ends. I think he just...
Well, it sucks up the fake horse and just kind of flies off.
Okay. Boy, do you guys remember exactly where it goes from here? I'm trying to remember. I mean, at some point, it splices in the backstory on that Gordo chimp show, but I don't know.
Well, does it go back to that guy on his ranch in his show? Because that comes up eventually.
Which guy?
The Asian guy. Because he puts on a show.
That's not until later, though. Man, I'm blanking how it gets from point A to point B on this one.
I know they called that other cinematographer at some point because the electric cameras went out, so they were trying to get somebody with more expertise.
You're right. I think that it would have been about this point in the film that happened. So yeah, basically, they're having trouble with the electric cameras because this UFO affects the electricity and can just shut the cameras off. So they call this guy that was the director on that commercial they got booted from, and he's like got like a really like grisly voice on him.
Yeah, he's got a deep, raspy voice.
And he keeps also like viewing this footage that he's got of like this
animals killing other animals.
So you get the sense that this guy's maybe not all there. But they like, we can offer you the chance to get the perfect shot or whatever. But he just kind of like warns him about that and says like, he tells the sister like that last shot can like be your last or kill you or something.
The impossible shot.
The impossible shot.
But there's also like she's kind of dancing around the issue of telling there's a saucer, but he also seems to like instinctively know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Because I was wondering about that myself, because skipping forward, the thing that eventually gets him on board is
the idea of the impossible shot.
Well, not only that, but he hears the news after the attack at the Wild West place.
That's when he
hears the
in.
news story.
Okay, so maybe that's when he puts it together.
But still, I don't know why he'd exactly put it together that it's a UFO.
Right.
That seems like a leap. I don't really understand that. God, why am I blanking? I mean, let's skip to the point where it shows, because I think it's one of the better scenes in the movie, the scene we referenced earlier. It gives the backstory of when Steven Yeun was a child actor. He's on that sitcom. And basically, yeah, the chimp starts going ape shit, I guess.
Yeah, and he's just like
he's hiding under
a
table. And like, it's like, first it kills like the mom character on the show.
Yeah.
And then the dad character shows up and is like, Gordo, stay.
Yeah.
But he ends up running from him, and like it goes and like through this door, and like you just hear it like beating the shit out of him, beating him to death. And then we don't see it attack the sister character.
Yeah, she's missing.
But it apparently does, and she comes into play a little bit here in a little bit. Now, do you guys know, was there anything really consequential to the plot before we get to like the Wild West scene where the major attack happens?
This is I don't think there's anything huge, because pretty much right after this ape scene, that he's like having a flashback or whatever, and then he goes and does a show.
Yeah, okay. So, and I have a question about this. So, he has this Wild West show where he's got one of the horses he bought from OJ, Lucky. And he's setting this whole thing up where he's like, in an hour, you're going to see something that blows your mind, that changes your life. And then, one thing we didn't set up is the UFO. They catch on film that it's a cloud. And
well, yeah, while they're just filming, there's like, when he tries to time lapse it, all the clouds are moving except for one cloud. He just stays in the same place all the time.
And also in the attack that picked up the mannequin horse, there was a cloud that was moving around. So they kind of pieced it together there.
Yeah, they're just in the cloud.
So while Steven Yeun's character is setting this up, we see the cloud, and out of the cloud, the kind of series of flags.
You're right, the flags from the horse
come out. Now, this is my question. Did Steven Yeun's character know about the UFO, and had it been doing shows where it fed at horses before?
Yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing. It'd been happening for a while, and so basically he'd just take a horse and like, at a certain time of day, he'd just like let it run out into the desert or whatever, and they'd see come down and take the horse.
But this is my thing. If that's the case, why wouldn't they have been filming this? And why would the spectators that have seen this, why wouldn't this be like a worldwide phenomenon?
Yeah, and there weren't that many people in the seats either. Like, it wasn't like a full stadium.
Yeah, if this had happened once, that would be a packed stadium. I mean, this is one of the major things to me, plot holes in this movie that doesn't make sense. They couldn't have kept this under wraps. If people were seeing a UFO come out in this horse show and pick up a horse and eat it, or abduct it, would they have been just like, oh, it's a spectacle that this guy's making,
Yeah, plus when 40 people go missing later, wouldn't you come forward and be like, hey, this is what was happening previously on that ranch?
Yeah, I mean, could it potentially, they think it's like some sort of like gimmick on his part or something? I don't know.
Also, okay, let's and this is another thing I was thinking about. So, like, Steven Yeun's character seems blasé about sacrificing these horses.
Yeah.
And
at some point, like, the guy who said he wanted to buy his horses back, and he was just kind of like non-committal. Yeah. It's like, those horses aren't coming back.
But then, like, okay, let's dig into his backstory where he's seen this chimp kill these people. Do you think that made him be careless about animals? Like
you don't really see that much into his psychology, but you figure he's got some kind of damage he's packing around.
And also, the chimp, after it kills the people, almost goes to fist bump him, but then it gets his brains blown out as he's going to do it.
Oh yeah.
But See, I got the sense from that scene that like he felt bad that the chimp died. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
at the
I
end,
mean,
it seemed
probably.
like
I mean, they'd had some history together.
See, that's what confuses me is that backstory doesn't really feed into his modern day character in any way you'd think it would.
Yeah, you don't see enough of him to really know that much about him, other than he runs the show.
So also, and it showed that this is a thing from the trailer, but as they're doing the show and the UFO comes, there's a woman in the audience who is basically the I guess sister character that was on this show, and she got all mangled from the monkey. So in the trailer, you see like the veil like blow up on this old woman, and her teeth are all fucked up, and her face is all fucked up. That's what happened. Is it's the sister character from that show that was fucked up by the chimp. Now this is one of those things I'm talking about where it seems like Jordan Peele's like, I like this as a visual,
Yeah.
so I'm going to find a way to get it in there. But like to me, it's like, what does it add?
Yeah.
It's just, it's almost like he wanted something crazy for the trailer,
Yeah.
and he's like, this would be a crazy visual. I don't know. It just, to me, it just seemed horseshoed in there for a pun, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the way it comes together. None of it plays out. Because really, you're getting like a lot more story and backstory on him than the other main characters.
Yeah. It just doesn't make sense how it all ties together. I don't know.
So OJ decides, he's at the farm, he decides that he wants to get Lucky back because that's like his horse or whatever. So he goes to the park, and of course, it's all fucked up. And I guess we should go back. So basically, because we didn't really go over the attack, the UFO like picks up everybody that's watching this Wild West show, and we actually see the inside of them going inside, and it looks like they're getting like, I guess, digested by this thing.
Getting sucked down some kind of digestion hole.
Yeah. So then OJ shows up, and of course the park is a wreck, and he's like wondering what the fuck is going on. He gets to that area where Lucky is, and then the basically spaceship like swoops, and I think this is probably the closest shot we get of it in the movie to this point.
Yeah, it comes a couple close ones, mostly on him.
And we see that there's like this giant hole at the bottom. And basically, he's able to, I guess, see that this isn't like a UFO. It's not a ship. It's a creature.
Right.
It's a biological creature, and it's eating people. So that's kind of the twist, quote unquote, twist of the movie.
Yeah, that's where it moves from like an alien to like a creature feature.
Yeah. Which again, like, it's not like a surprising twist. It's just something you kind of go like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that point, I was like, okay, it's a creature feature. And then like I was expecting more like classical horror, I guess.
Sometimes like the twist or the reveal in the movie like retroactively like makes sense. Like it fits together. But this didn't really do anything like that.
The only thing it explains is because like the ship falling out of the sky that killed his dad, like I guess they told him that like somehow that shit fell out of a biplane, and he's like, I never really bought that. Well, we find out this creature, like, it eats the organic matter, but it can't like digest the metal and shit,
Yeah,
so
at
it
some
just
point
spits it
like,
back
showers
out.
it back out.
Yeah. So basically, he hides from the creature, like, and it goes off, but then he gets, I guess he just feels that it's going to go attack like the farmhouse or something. So he calls his sister, and like the phone's starting to break up, but he's trying to warn her that it's not that it basically it's a creature, not a alien spaceship or whatever. And so he puts Lucky, I guess, in the horse trailer, and he drives back. Now this scene I thought was kind of cool. So I forget why exactly, but Angel, the store guy, he was at the house. He was going to leave, but the creature's close enough that the power to his van shuts off. So he runs back into the house, and the creature is like right over the house, and so it starts to like downpour rain. But since it just ate all those people, it's also like blood coming out and like going on the windows and
There's
stuff.
a bunch of junk and blood. And
So that scene I thought looked kind of cool. Just the visual of like
Yeah, it
all the
wasn't bad.
blood and shit coming down. So OJ, like, he makes it back in the truck to the farmhouse, but then he gets close enough that it also shuts off the electricity to the truck. And then this was kind of like, I think, the funniest use of the whole nope line in the movie, where like he like goes to get out of the truck, but he looks up and like the thing is like right there over top of him. And he's like, nope. He shuts the door and like locks the door like that would do anything. And it like spits the mannequin horse like through the windshield of his truck.
Oh yeah.
So basically he just kind of waits it out and until like the morning when the light starts to come out. And now this I thought was a little bit weird, where like he drives up to the house and like he sees Angel and his sister in the house. I would have thought, because his truck was still technically working, right? I would have thought he would have just like drove to the door of the house or as close as he could get and like open and be like, run in. Yeah. But instead he like gets out, kind of weirdly, like slowly walks to Angel's van and waits for the other two to like come.
Yeah.
And like
he did have a horse through his windshield, I guess.
Yeah, but he left his other horse there, like in the back of that
Yeah,
truck.
he's in the loading.
Lucky,
Yeah, he's in the trailer.
Now, at this same point, he somehow puts it together in his head. And it flashes back to where like the commercial set where he told like one of the other guys like to not look directly at the horse's eyes or whatever. And that somehow puts it together for him that if he doesn't look directly at the creature, it won't attack him.
Yeah, which doesn't make a ton of sense.
No, it doesn't. Like, how did he possibly put that together?
He's got some like kind of like animal connection.
Were the horses staring at it when it ate them? You know?
Yeah.
That's the other thing, yeah. Are these horses like looking up at it, you know? I mean,
He puts like a mask on one of the horses, so he can't like. I don't know if that's to keep it calm or what, but
yeah, I don't know. Again, that part seemed convenient to me. It seemed like a random thing that he wouldn't really put together. But anyway, they get in his van and they basically drive and start hanging out at Angel's apartment. And instead of like being freaked out and talking about all this, like Angel and his sister's just like in VR units for some reason. That was a little bit weird to me. Then they're having dinner at a restaurant, and eventually, like, they come outside, and it seems like I forget exactly what their conversation was. It seemed like maybe OJ like still wanted to operate the farm or something, and like she had enough of it.
yeah, like he's still going back to get the shot or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he's not leaving.
But she's had enough of it. But as she walks away, she gets a text from the director guy she talked to earlier, and now he's in it because, again, that scene we referenced earlier, he was like editing his movie, and like a news story came on that told of the attack at the amusement park, and again, he just somehow put it together that it was a UFO type thing. I mean, what do you guys think of that? I mean,
There was a lot of coincidence. Like,
Yeah.
there was also that, like, later on, just right about here, I think, or coming up, there's a reporter that shows up just for convenience sake, I feel like.
okay, yeah, that's another thing I wanted to
he's
talk
a
to
plot
you guys.
device.
That's another thing I wanted. Okay, so yeah, now we're kind of getting into the end of the movie. So this director guy, he's like builds his own camera, or maybe he just has one that doesn't use electricity. It has the old hand crank so that the monster can't shut it off. And so the plan is him and Angel are going to be on this ridge. They set up. Now, I don't know if this was really necessary. They basically take a bunch of the wavy inflatable tube men.
All right, and they place them like all throughout the fields.
Right, and down the road or whatever.
And it wasn't dangerous placing those at that time, but later on it gets dangerous for some reason.
Well, after they ate like all those people, they figured they had like a day or two for it to digest or something.
Right,
Like, we got some time before it's hungry again.
So the plan is, I guess they're going to use OJ as bait on the horse to get the thing to follow, and they're just going to get the shot. Is that what the plan is, basically?
Yeah, I guess something like that.
You know, I almost wondered, like, what? I mean, we'll get into the anticlimactic thing that eventually takes the monster down, but I almost thought it would have been better if, like, he had to sacrifice a horse, like strap explosives to a horse or something.
yeah.
I don't know. I just
Off you go, Lucky.
But basically, they're getting all prepared, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy on a motorcycle appears, and this was another weird thing. So, like, this guy, the sister goes to investigate. He's wearing this huge reflective helmet. So, like, and then he ends up basically, yeah, like you said, I guess he's this reporter guy. But didn't he even mention the cloud that's not moving? Like, didn't he have some sort of...
Yeah, I think he might have.
So, this is another thing, is like, who is this guy? How does he have this knowledge? Why would he be here? Can you guys explain it at all?
Supposedly investigating the whatever happened at that ranch / park or whatever.
I mean, I feel like this was just a shoehorn thing in here that didn't make any sense. And also, again, like, the weird reflective helmet is like another thing that I just feel like Jordan Peele was like, this looks cool. I got to fit it in somehow.
Yeah.
And this whole character didn't make sense to me. I didn't know where he came from, why he would be there.
He showed up at the perfect time to be bait, though.
Yeah, so basically, like, he just starts gunning down the street on his motorcycle. The creature cuts the power to it's an electric cycle, of course, not a gas, and it just wrecks this guy. And then I guess OJ, like, feels sorry for the guy because he can hear him screaming or whatever.
Right. They're kind of like, well, he's probably dead. And then you hear him screaming.
So, like, he goes and, like, tries to help the guy. And I think he's like, don't look at the creature or whatever, but he's, like, looking at it or something. Yeah. I forget actually what happens here. It eventually, like, ends up eating that guy, right?
Yeah, you think, like, he's going to save him or something. And I don't know if he sees it, like, it reflected in the guy's helmet or whatever. And he's like, sorry. He jumps on his horse and takes off. And then it just eats the guy.
By the way, I thought for sure we would get some scene of that helmet, like, falling back to the ground or something somewhere, you know? So... this part's hard to keep track of because, like, it starts going around and, like, fucking with everybody at different points, it seems like. But first, like, yeah, I think OJ's, like, on the horse trying to...
Yeah, chases him back and, like, he gets off into, like, a shed or...
Yeah, he, like, jumps off and gets back in the shed.
And goes for the guy on the hill, I think.
Yeah, at this point, like, the guy gets the shot on camera, but then, and this is another thing that's not explained. So then this old director guy, he just goes crazy.
Well, he gets, like, the initial shot, and then, like, yeah, he's like, I guess he thinks he's going to come back, and he's like, we don't deserve the, what was it?
The impossible
the
shot.
Impossible shot. And he just starts climbing the hill with his camera like he's going to get this shot, and basically just sucks him up and he's gone.
Yeah, he's, like, going to get the shot of going inside the thing. But, like, I'm like, if they set up that maybe that guy had terminal cancer or something, or just, like, had some sort of motivation.
Yeah.
He's got some, like, got to get that perfect shot.
And, like, yeah, they don't even use the shot. They don't even get it, do they?
Well, that's another thing. When he was going up the hill, I was like, does he still have that roll in his camera that he's carrying up the hill?
Yeah.
Because it seems like you might want that later.
Like, is this all this footage getting saved to the cloud or something?
It's going to the cloud. Well, and that's another thing that I was kind of confused of. I think he must have had two cameras, right? The one he was filming with first, and then like a smaller one that was attached to himself, or
Well, he had I think he was using the crank one, and then Angel had like a more modern one.
yeah. But I believe when he leaves, Angel still has like the bigger crank.
Oh,
one.
you're right. He does. Yeah, so he must have had a secondary camera. Took up the hill.
But yeah, that guy goes on his little suicide thing, and then like I don't remember if it goes after the sister or Angel first, but I know like
Yeah, I think it goes for Angel, but he's like wrapped in barbed wire and gets spit back out.
yeah, he ends up getting wrapped in a tarp, which I guess covers his eyes.
Yeah, I don't know.
And we also see like the roll of film like going down, so who knows if that's any good at all. Based on the end of the movie, I think we're supposed to feel like maybe that film's
It's probably ruined. Yeah.
ruined. So then I remember it starts going after the sister, and even though like she goes in the house, it seems like it starts like ripping up the house.
Yeah, it's like gets more aggressive. Well, she's like in an outbuilding maybe or something, and like it does a little tornado on it, it kind of falls apart, and she runs out.
And she gets like flung up into the air
Yeah.
a little bit. I'm trying to think. Oh, one thing that confused me. Okay, so Angel, he's in the tarp and he's all wrapped up in tarp and barbed wire. And he basically ends up like putting the barbed wire kind of like tightly around him. And then I'm like, well, where is this going? Is he going to like have the thing eat him and hope that the barbed wire like fucks up the inside of the creature? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't know exactly what his plan was, but then also it sucks him up, but then like kind of spits him back out.
Well, the barbed wire was like, it kept him there. Like, it was all connected to the fence and everything.
Yeah, it was like it was pulling off the fence as he was going up,
Oh, okay. So the barbed wire was like
tethering him. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I missed that part. Okay, that makes a little more sense. So like he was wrapping it around him in hopes that it would save him, and it did. Yeah. Okay. So eventually it gets to the point where like it seems like OJ is going to make a sacrifice to save the sister, and he's on the horse and like actually looks at the thing. And at this point, like, it doesn't look like a UFO anymore. It kind of like opens up and looks more like a jellyfish, maybe.
Yeah, some kind of more ethereal creature.
Right. And so it starts looking at him, and so we get the sense that he's gonna like sacrifice himself to save the sister. But then the sister, she goes and gets the electric motorcycle, and she like looks at the creature to draw its attention. So like now it's like, no, she's gonna save him, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of weird, but he directs it away from her long enough for her to take off on the bike, and then like it gets attracted to her.
And the whole thing of it, like killing the electricity, seems a little undefined as well. Is it like it's not looking at her, so like then the electricity does work, or?
I thought maybe it just like got out of distance for a minute.
Yeah,
or
I thought it was far enough.
Okay, but yeah, apparently it got far enough away that the bike worked again. So she like starts going off on the bike and looks back at the creature enough, I guess, to get its attention, so it keeps following. She drives back to the theme park and gets like all these caution tapes on her because they like closed it off after all the people died or whatever. So she gets there, and we see she starts like undoing all these tethers, and we don't exactly know what they're to, but she's undoing all these tethers. And it basically lets go this huge balloon.
Yeah, it's like a happy cowboy.
Right. And also, we forgot to set this up, but earlier on in the movie, like at the very beginning when they first get to the theme park, like there's this wishing well thing, and you kind of look down it and you turn this crank and it takes your picture. It's like a touristy type thing. So she decides she's going to try to capture a photo of the creature using this wishing well, because she like the balloon is like right up
Going
perfectly.
straight up perfectly.
And this wishing well is like 1080p or higher. It's very, very clear.
Yeah, and conveniently, I mean, maybe we're supposed to think that the creature spit out like people's coins, but there's coins all around to operate this thing.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened.
So either like a building that had money in it was exploded, or the creature already spit out a bunch of coins from the people that it killed. I don't know.
I
But
think that's what it did.
conveniently, there's a bunch of coins everywhere that she can use. And so this is another thing that I thought was kind of anticlimactic and stupid. So basically, the balloon goes up, the creature swallows the balloon, and it pops inside of it. And that, I guess, the air escaping the balloon is enough force to kill the creature. And it gets a perfect, like, wishing well photo of it.
Yeah, that part. Like, I wasn't even sure it was dead for a while.
I wasn't either, like, because she was celebrating, and I thought it was going to be like, oh no, she celebrated too soon, it's coming back. But no, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, now that you said it out loud, it kind of reminds me of like the monkey scene, like where they do the flashback.
Yeah, the balloon pops.
Because the balloons were popping. And
Yeah, there was a little tie-in with that.
I did forget about that. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I wouldn't have made that connection. I forgot about in the chimp attack scene. There was a bunch of balloons popping.
Yeah, balloon popped, and that's kind of what set him off.
Okay, and then we get the happy ending where like OJ's still alive. He shows up on the horse, and that's pretty much it. So like, if there is a social commentary to the movie, do you think it's more in the way we treat animals rather than anything else?
Yeah, I thought it had more to do with animals. I didn't know what to take from it. Like the Hollywood scene made me think like, yeah, they're mistreating animals. There's clear rules for how to behave around these animals, but they're still like, make it do this, or we'll do this, we'll walk around the backside, whatever, like not caring.
I guess there was disrespect for animals in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very beginning of the movie, like just the like whole thing about how like, you know, that first motion picture thing, frames of film, was a black guy that's forgotten by history, and the way he was treated on set. It seemed like maybe there was a little bit of racial commentary, but really, other than that, I don't think there's much racial commentary, and everything else seems animal based.
Yeah, that's what I've picked up too.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't solid.
I mean, unless, do you think there's anything to the I don't know, like, if we just don't look our adversary in the eye, we're safe or something?
Well, at some point, the cinematographer had some line about like you have to have a covenant with a predator or something. I don't know. I don't know exactly what that was supposed to mean.
Did either of you guys see Jordan Peele's second movie, that one called Us? That's the one. I didn't see that one. I heard it was kind of bad, so I never saw it. What do you think of that?
It was better than this one. I thought it was like, if I had to rank the three movies, that would be in the middle. And it wasn't bad at all. I thought it was okay. I thought Get Out was better, but Us had, like, you could connect the parts, the pieces. You know, it had a storyline that made sense. I liked it more.
What was the twist on that one? Like there was like an evil doppelganger of everybody, like created by the government or something.
Yeah, like underground. There was like some sort of government. I don't know what it was, like conspiracy or project or something. And there were doppelgangers of all people, like underground. And but they were like connected. Everybody's connected at some point. So yeah, what happens is the main character, the girl, she has a doppelganger, and she goes to like a carnival, and they end up running into each other, and from there, everything turns topsy turvy, and then there's like a big reveal at the end. I don't want to give that away.
Oh, okay. Did you feel like that movie had like a social commentary to it?
Yeah, that one did. That one I felt like was more about like forgotten people, like people just left behind, and
Because I think the whole thing was like it's called Us, but it can also stand for the U.S. or something like that.
Yeah, and there was like some sort of Hands Across America commentary within there somewhere that you have to kind of look for, but I don't know. I think there was like some more commentary in there. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, it made more sense at least.
Let's see. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we score this movie?
No.
Okay, guys. The ultimate question: what would you give this scale of 1 to 10?
I'd give it like a 5 or a 6. It wasn't great. It was okay.
Yeah. I mean, there were elements I liked, but probably a 4. It just didn't go for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think I would give it maybe like a 5, 5.5. Like, I think there's things to appreciate about it. It's well shot. I think there are some good ideas in it. But ultimately it is anticlimactic. Ultimately, I don't know if it says that much. Like I said, if it has a big, deeper meaning, I think maybe it's buried a little too deep.
Yeah, the meaning wasn't there, and I think even without that, if they just gone full creature feature and like actually tried to scare you, but like the incidences with the creature aren't that like scary. They don't pull you in really.
I mean, yeah, that one moment's a bit gory with like the blood and everything, but yeah, it's not like to me, like the scariest, most tension-filled scene in the movie was him and the chimp, him under the table.
Yeah. The chimp scene was definitely.
There were some things that didn't make sense to me. Like, okay, so a flag and the balloon, like those were things that mess it up, but not people's clothes. Like, not anything else that people had. Well, maybe
presumably
a knife.
gets spit out at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, because he did mention like it didn't like the fake horse, you know.
Oh, he carried that horse around for a long time though. He spit it out at a very convenient time.
Yeah, there's definitely things that don't make sense, and like I said, like the woman with the messed up face and the weird reporter out of nowhere with the shiny helmet. Those just seem like visuals that he wanted in there. That he just found a way to get there. I don't know. Especially the reporter guy. Yeah. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Also, like, I wonder who played. I was wondering if like someone famous played him since you never see the face.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on it. But I don't know.
I was like, is this like Nicolas Cage or something?
It's Daft Punk.
So yeah. Nope. A little disappointing. I don't think it's anything I would ever watch again.
No.
Nah.
It's not offensively bad, but it's just kind of blah. I don't know. Anything else you guys want to add before we wrap this bad boy up?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much for listening and watching. If you'd like us to review, anything else, please shout it out to us in the comments. Speaking of which, if you will, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel and to your podcast service of choice. Leave us comments, thumbs up, positive reviews if you would. That does still help in the old algorithms, so that's very nice. And why not come over and visit us on the hellscape known as Twitter? Guys, where can people find you on the Twitter?
A name for this too, and that's number 2.
At unsolicited SUG, but I haven't been on there for a little bit.
And you can, of course, find me at Zach Jones Live. That's ZachJonesLive. Geez, Live. And that is going to do it for all of our shenanigans and poppycock this week. Please, please, please tune in again next week. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Yeah, have a good one.